On Easter Sunday this year, April the 12th, Pauline and I celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary. Probably wasn't the wedding anniversary that we really planned, but we were able to celebrate together. Pauline made a cake, and we had Zoom drinks with friends, and we look forward to the day when we can celebrate again with all our friends. But looking back 40 years has been quite an interesting experience over this period of lockdown, this period when we've been away from everybody. And part of that was just looking back through some old memories. And apart from finding the bill for the wedding reception at Allerton Hall, we also found our order of service hidden away in a cupboard amongst a scrapbook of other things, which told us that we got married on April the 12th, 1980, at 2 o'clock at All Saints Church, Childerwell. April the 12th, 1980 was a glorious spring day, but it was also the Saturday after Easter. And so, of course, we chose some Easter hymns, or one particular Easter hymn that we wanted played at our wedding, and it's meant something to both of us ever since. Thine be the glory, risen, conquering Son. Endless is the victory thou o'er death has won. Angels in bright raiment rolled the stone away, kept the folded grave clothes where thy body lay. Thine be the glory, risen, conquering Son. Endless is the victory thou o'er death hast won. Thine be the glory was written by a Swiss French-speaking priest, Edmund Boudry, in Switzerland in the late 19th century. Written, it's told, following the death of his wife. And he saw that in that death there was hope through the victory that Christ had over the grave. Christ, the empty tomb, being the sense of the signal of the resurrection and Christ's victory over death. Interestingly enough, the tune was put to a tune in England, which actually is from Handel's oratorio, Judas Maccabeus, which actually speaks about Judas, the Jewish priest who led the Maccabean revolt against the Greek Empire in 167 BC. And the words for "They see the conquering hero comes," which comes from the third act, was actually written to glorify the Duke of Cumberland following the victory of the English over the Scots and the Jacobeans at Culloden. A strange use of music celebrating victory in war for a hymn that celebrates victory over death. And of course, at this moment in time, we are looking towards a situation of hope as we come to find a way through the pall of death that hangs over this world called by COVID-19. Thine being the glory always speaks to me about hope. In our own lives, we suffered the death of a son some 24 years ago, and coming through that process and learning to live again was part of the journey of faith. And this hymn, Thine be the glory, speaks about that victory over death. We know that in the days that we live in this moment in time, we hear on a daily basis the numbers of people who have died because of COVID-19. Lives cut short, families ripped apart. But Easter speaks to me about hope, and about hope through death, and hope through the darkest of days. And when we think through the words of this hymn, Thine be the glory, we hear again the words about Jesus meeting us risen from the tomb, because Jesus has defeated death. And death only has a hold over us if we allow it to. If we allow ourselves to be released from that grip, then that's how we see the victory that Jesus had, and how we can share in that, and share in the hope that comes from the Easter message. The hope of a glorious dawn with a life free from pain, free from sorrow, and free from death. And that's, for me, is something that I just wanted to share about this Eastertide as we think of these 50 days.